How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. How was the convention?
It was fabulous.
It was wonderful. I heard that you're not running against each other.
No, we're not running against each other. We're both considering the same.
You see, the thing is, when you and I talked a long time ago, I wasn't going to run because I thought that you were terming totally out. But you're not terming it out 2 full years. So,
I don't mean to
excuse
kind
me.
of
Just want to say hello, Steve Pressman.
So,
Hi, Steve.
excuse
Nice to meet you.
Anyway, let's talk later then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Look forward to it.
let's have coffee.
All right. I look forward to it.
How's the kids?
Oh, the kids are doing great. Great.
Well, we'll be nice, won't we, to each other?
Bob, I'd like to introduce you to Ron Kay.
Hey.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Bob.
Nice to meet you.
I got a big question for you. Why would you run for 2 offices? Isn't that abusive?
That's how you're describing. So you're not going to vote for Paul Ryan?
Well, he was already running for Congress. You running simultaneously by choice.
Already.
No, I'm not voting for Paul Ryan.
I'm saying
If that's your question to me, my question to you is: are you going to pay for the special election if you win both?
Anyway.
Are you going to represent the people after you resign if you win? I mean, isn't that abusive political behavior?
I know you're here to make a statement in a show.
No, I'm here to get you on the record.
No, and I'm here serving constituents who are
I'm a
coming in.
constituent.
Well, you're here to create a show and and theater, and that's a whole other game.
What's your answer? Are you going to run for both offices, and are you going to serve in both?
I love serving this community. I've been serving this community. The calendar is what it is. I'm serving this community in the legislature. I've opened up a committee to look into city council. That the filing date has not neither opened nor closed for city council. That comes late
Comes
November.
right after the election for assembly.
It does, and because I like to be open, since I'm considering that very strongly, I've opened up a committee, and I want to be straightforward about it. Imagine what would happen if someone like me eventually ran after November. You would come and criticize and say, well, why didn't you talk about that before? Were you hiding
you'd still
something?
be running for an office when you just got elected to an office. Here's Elizabeth Badger, a community service person.
She's a great person.
Here's Steve Pressberg, who cares deeply about the community. There's 6 other people who have worked in the community who would like to serve, but you're using all this access to money, political money. We know where you get your money from: Indian gaming, medical associations, labor, and other people. Very little of it comes from even the Valley.
Well, all of this is very
just
public
think it's
record. I
abusive
have good, strong support in the Valley. I've been serving this community. I'm proud of.
You've spent your
I'm
whole
proud
life
of
in politics, and now you're going to have 2 jobs simultaneously.
That's what you say. That's not. That's.
It costs. Who's paying for the $1 million plus for the special election?
You're saying I spent my whole life in politics. You're making assertions that you don't know the facts about.
When was the last time you had a private sector job?
First off, I worked for a documentary filmmaker. I've worked for a nonprofit organization. I've worked for the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. I've went to the executive program, business school, did a lot of things. So for you to characterize my history the way you want to is just it's not right.
Okay. You still haven't answered the question. Why would you run for 2 offices simultaneously?
It's very simple. I'm trying to serve this community.
So are all of these people.
Yeah, and they're entitled to do that, and they should do that. There's nothing wrong with folks running for office. It's a good thing. It's part of the public process. There's.
Well, it's not much of a public process when you have all the money, the political machine behind you, and you're anointed by people who have destroyed the city.
I appreciate you saying that somehow I'm anointed, but I've got to run just like anybody else in this town.
Really?
If you're going to run
like
for
anybody else?
Absolutely.
Okay.
To
Do
run,
you
support the mayor's pension reforms?
First off, this isn't a press conference.
Okay.
No. When it comes to pension reform, I have a record. I actually just passed major pension reform on the state that I'm proud of and was intimately involved with.
Do you want to be on the city council?
I'm here as a state representative. I'm not. This is not a political venue. This is a state venue. Could you step a little back instead of being right in my face?
Space. Yeah, right there.
I mean, I don't know if you want to see my retina scan. Is that what you're trying for? You want to talk about the pension reform that we just passed? It had the support of business. It had the support of labor.
nothing to do with the city.
There's a constitutional issue dealing with charter cities. So ultimately, the city's going to have to take that on, and
they have. Are you supporting the mayor?
I'm willing to talk about that, but I'm here, and I don't want to have city discussion. I'm not here
But
talking
in,
about the city.
but in
I'm
July,
here,
you filed to be a city candidate.
and I will talk-
You've yet to make a single policy statement, such as on pensions, the city budget.
Just to be clear, I did not. No one has filed to be a city candidate. Filing hasn't opened, nor has it
You
closed.
filed with the city ethics
I
commission.
opened up a committee to absolutely, as did
Right.
you. But when I'm here today,
You don't think that makes you a candidate?
absolutely. When I'm here today, I have my sidewalk office hours for people to come talk to me about state issues. I'm going to talk to them about state issues. When this campaign for council goes on, there'll be plenty of debates and discussions, and I will welcome that opportunity. But I'm not going to take the time of folks who are here to talk about sidewalk, to talk about state issues, because you want to have a campaign discussion.
You don't think those issues affect them?
I'm
City
here,
issues?
I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to talk with people who have office hours. Ever since I got elected, I hold office hours multiple times a year because I want to give full access to the community. People come to my office to discuss things, but people also like it when I go out to different communities. That's why I'm here. I'm
Do
trying
you
to
tell them at your office that you're not going to discuss an issue if it's not on the state legislative
I-
agenda?
but with you, you're here for a political theater and for a press conference. I'm here to talk with people about individual issues, and I have people who are waiting for me to do that. So I'm going to continue to do that.
And this gentleman
And
has
I'd
been
appreciate
waiting.
it.
Speaking as a constituent, I'd love to talk to you.
Okay, well, but part of me I'm having private one-on-one conversations with people, as
Well, I
many
don't want
people
to
as show
intrude
up.
on anybody's
So
conversation.
I've had a nice long conversation with you about non-state issues taking up my state time, and that's fine. I've had a nice discussion with you, and I'd like to continue. I'm sure we will. I know you have an agenda.
What's my agenda?
I'm not going to characterize it, but you and I both know about it. So I'd like to
My
talk.
agenda is to get you to decide which office you want.
Anyway, I'm going to
That's my
continue.
agenda. It's a real simple one. I think it's outrageous that anybody would run for two offices at the same time. I think it's an insult to democracy itself, and I think it's one of the worst things I've ever seen a politician do. It's not Paul Ryan's situation. He was already running for Congress when he was anointed to be vice president. You chose volitionally to run for two offices at the same time. What an insult to these constituents.
I disagree.
Well, that's fine. Vote for him.
It's not the same time. There's an election now in November. This election is basically been running for this seat for the last year and a half. Redistricting
Bob,
has
you
happened.
planned to run for the consuls 8 months ago. Everybody's known it. I've heard it from every owl in Sacramento.
So says you.
Wow.
But
So does everybody who knows you.
you don't know me. This is the first time we've ever met.
Absolutely. That's why I only listen to the people who know you.
And
And they're outraged by it. A lot of them. He may be happy. A lot of people may be happy, but I think it's an offense against democracy.
that's fine. I'm here to serve the community, and I'd like to continue with my office hours
You
if
got
you
it.
don't mind.
But by the way, why did you send out a mailing 6 weeks before an election at public expense for when you're running for re-election and running for the consul? Aren't there any boundaries that you respect?
And your opponent has spent $0. You're aware of that, aren't
This
you?
is not a campaign event. You're asking campaign. This
6 weeks before an election, everything's a
I
campaign
send
event.
out-
Nobody else does
I
that,
send out
Bob.
sidewalk
That's
office
cheap.
First off, there is a blackout period when you can and can't send mail. This is in compliance with the blackout
Well,
period.
you comply with the law. You don't need to comply with the spirit of the law, do you?
And the spirit of the law. The spirit also is I do my sidewalk office hours every quarter. And just because there's an election going on doesn't mean I'm not going to do my sidewalk office hours, because people depend on me to do that. So I'm not going to stop doing. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing to serve my constituents because you think it's not politically appropriate. I'm going to continue to serve my constituents and do everything I can to do that. And it complies with the law. And anyway, I'd like to continue doing
Go
that.
ahead, Bob.
So
It's
thank
great
you.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.